if we are ready, then I have just hit the record button. And thank you very much for coming. And I look forward to just hearing. I think there's one speech that is maybe similar in terms of topic, but we'll see how different they are because it's coming from two very different Toastmasters. With that said, I am Roger Fung, your VP of Education, an online presenter, and I am glad to be your Toastmasters for the evening. And to get us started, from down under, Magda is going to give us her speech on level 2, learning your style about mentoring. The title of her speech is Down Came a Spider. Down came a spider. We have Magda. All yours, Magda.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. And itsy bitsy spider went up the spout again and again and again, depending, of course, how many times you sing the song. Mr. Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters, around the age of 7, I asked my mother for a reason. Why did this silly, slider spider not learn from previous experience? It was always getting spit out or spilled out of the spout. And my mom said, maybe it's a different spider every time. That sounded reasonable to me, and unbeknownst to me, my brain opened up a brand new file called the multiple possibility file. I want to tease you today to search in this tangle of possibilities in my stories. And I'm going to start with being a protege. As a protege, I had some very interesting experiences. And the example I'm going to use is similar to that of this spider doing the same thing over and over and over again. Let me explain. For some of my CC presentations, I use PowerPoint. PowerPoint without the bullet points and images like a power shower. Usually I was one of the first ones at the club. I checked the projector and ran through the slides, and it worked every time before the meeting. However, this projector was a bit geriatric and a bit like a menopause woman full of hot flashes. When hot, it will turn off mid-presentation and refuse to budge until it cooled down. My Toastmaster mentor was usually late. She arrived often long after the meeting started, and she said to me on 4 different occasions, "You should come in early and check the projector." Huh? I thought, how can she say this without checking the facts? To me, this was like the spider going up the spout to be washed out again and again and again. Will you be surprised when I tell you I transferred my membership? It was more than just emotions at play, because emotions come and they go. However, cognitive dissonance is stronger, and they linger much, much longer. Our brains, especially my brain, is relentlessly trying to find answers when there are opposing facts. In my case, my brain will not park this dissonance in a happy file. Oh no. My brain chemicals will pluck it out, analyze, fantasize, and galvanize. Just like Itsy Bitsy Spider in Loco and its futile quest. I learned in some cases it's just best to move on, especially when I detect a difference in values. The relevance of this is simple. I can find a new spout just like my mom suggested. In the meantime, I've excelled way past the single lesson that I've got from my mom. In the last 3 years, I had opened my possibility file many, many times. So far, I've mentored 29 Toastmaster members from all corners of the earth. I still ask a lot of questions. One of the most relevant questions is, what if? What if you, as the protege, use this bit of information? What if you use this quote or that prop? What if you make a change here to really touch the heart and the minds of your audience? What if you add a personal story? Often I have to ask, why not? And I get wonderful answers back. Most of the times I would open up my possibility file and I would show my protege. I will hold it like a mirror and I will show them their enormous potential. I tell them, you don't have to climb up the spout and being helpless just because of circumstances. What did I learn? Something quite simple. It's no way to try and reinvent the wheel. Most of the work has been done by Toastmasters International. All I have to do is show up and share to the best of my abilities. There are no mistakes, only learning opportunities. For the in loco spider, as well as for the gypsy spiders, like myself, who are just singing in the rain. I also know spiders are making for a very good learning tool for proteges and mentors alike. To wrap up, I'm not afraid of spiders, irrespective of where the symbolic spiders are coming from or where they are going. I'm looking forward to mentoring in this club, the extravaganza. I know this web will be wonderful and worthwhile. How do I know this? Well, it's written in my possibility file. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Magda. What a storyteller. I am sure that if anyone in our club is looking to up their game when it comes to storytelling, or maybe singing while they're speaking, we'll be calling Magda. But I want to leave some time for our evaluator, Jim Barber, to give her what he saw that really stood out and some suggestions that Jim might have. Your clock starts, Jim Barber.
Magda, I've only got a minute, so I can't begin to tell you all the things that I liked about your presentation. I'll focus on a couple of them. For one thing, I loved your continuing reference to rhyming and to nursery rhymes. You opened with the spider nursery rhyme, and that was so good. But you came back to that, not only referencing spiders throughout the time, but I liked when you talked about analyze, fantasize, and galvanize. You actually used rhyme in your speech, and that was so good. I loved the segue that you made between a spider and a protege. That worked great. You have wonderful gestures. I loved the way your gestures were up here beside your face. They were congruent with what you were talking about. That was fantastic. A couple of suggestions. You ended with to wrap up. It's a minor thing, but I kind of like just for you to have a more smooth entrance. It's say as you might have gathered by now, or something like that, rather than saying to wrap up. My timer's annoying me. Okay, and let's see the other thing. Oh, when you point towards your gestures were great, but once or twice you pointed towards the camera and your hand became rather large. Try not to do that. That's it.
Time's up.
Thank you, Jim, for being our guinea pig of the first person going up there to cut it all short. So just a reminder for all of our evaluators, go right into it and say, hey, I have 3 things for you, A, B, and C, and 2 suggestions, boom and boom. I know it's really tight. Let's keep it running. To start us, to continue this fun, is our second speaker, which is Tracy. Tracy will be evaluated by Nick, and Tracy's working on the Effective Coaching Level 1, Mastering the Fundamentals, Evaluation and Feedback. This is her first speech. She will get feedback, she'll incorporate some feedback, and come back again later for a second time. People, and her title is Standout Resume. People in career transition need updated resume when applying for jobs. Find out how to maximize yours in this informative webinar. Tracy, Standout Resume. Tracy.
Thank you. I just shared my screen and I cannot see the timer.
If you could go ahead and do you see a little on top, it says view option. I believe you can get that a little bit smaller, or exiting the full screen on the upper right hand corner.
But now you see my whole screen, right?
No, not this part. I'm talking about the whatchamacallit, the ring central control. On the upper right hand corner, you may see a exit full screen or something that would shrink down the size a little bit so you can see. Yeah. Do you see it? If you don't, here's what we can do. Go ahead and go back to your presentation mode here in PowerPoint, and then I will ask Jimmy to give you a verbal.
Perfect.
Green, yellow, and red.
Thank you.
Yes, I'll give a verbal.
Thank you.
All right, we'll start now.
Fellow Toastmasters and guests, thank you so much for coming to the Preparing a Standout Resume webinar. Why do we need a resume? Your resume is essentially your marketing document. It shows your timeline of experience, education, and growth over time, and it should be a perfect reflection of all of this experience, which you can take and then use to market yourself out in the business world. Today, we're going to receive an overview. I'll be talking about what your executive summary is, how to streamline your resume, how to build in those metrics, how to format your resume properly, and how to match your resume to your ideal job post, as well as we'll discuss a little bit about professional development and, of course, our services. Starting with your executive summary, this is essentially your brand. This is why you are the ideal job candidate, written right at the top in a powerful, dynamic summary explanation about who you are and what your amazing, fabulous skill sets are. Streamline your resume. Less is more. Be very concise. Instead of writing in your job descriptions, write about your accomplishments. Production is much more important than perfection. Your resume is a moving body. It's a living, breathing body that is continually improving because we're continually adding our newest job experiences. So it'll never be perfect, but it's perfect for this moment in time. It's very important to build out our metrics and our measurements. What does that mean? It means that we get to quantify what we've done and build it into the resume so that a hiring manager can have something to sink their teeth into. For instance, how much revenue did you help generate for this company? Or perhaps you managed a budget. How much was that budget that you managed? How many manpower hours did you save this company by just simply streamlining their process? How many reports did you oversee, both directly and indirectly? Our number one goal is to get you past the applicant tracking system, otherwise known as the ATS. The purpose of the ATS is exclusion. For all of the thousands of people that will send their resume out, it's important for hiring managers to have a way to eliminate and process out all of the resumes that don't meet the qualifications. Function above beauty. We have a lot of clients that come to us and ask us for a very attractive, beautiful resume. The most important thing is not how pretty a resume is, it's how much impact your resume has. We ask that you receive your ideal job post. And once you find your ideal job post, you match that up. We match that up for you against your resume. We scan them together through our tracking software. And we find out what your skills are and we find out where, in which job description, you've actually implemented those skills. As far as your experience, you'll notice that every job description will say required experience, and some might say preferred experience. The difference is, when it's required, you've got to have that type of experience. When it's preferred, it means that, yes, although they would love to have you showing that type of experience, if you have other skills and other experience that is competent enough, then they will overlook the fact that you don't have this preferred experience. One of the reasons why we ask you to grab your ideal job post is because there are keywords in there, both in the way of hard skills as well as the soft skills. Now, the hard skills might be something technical, like specific software that you've worked on that is indigenous to your industry. Soft skills might be something like customer service, fabulous communication. Again, your job description is a moving target because for every resume that you write, you'll have to take out the title and place in the title of that exact job description. Because what you're essentially doing is you're creating a resume to match each and every job description for the roles to which you're applying. You might be wondering, what does a person do if they don't know what their ideal job description is? Maybe they're going through some kind of transition and they're not quite sure what their next steps are or what their next position looks like.
YOLO.
In that regard, we advise for them to take a 360-degree view into themselves, to look at all of their transferable skills and to assess themselves on a deeper level. Usually, with all of your previous job experiences, there's a common thread that weaves through each and every job experience that, although they may seem so separate and different, there is that one common thread that ties them all together in a nice, neat little package. And if somebody doesn't have their ideal job description, what we do is we advise that they take the COWA assessment. In the COWA assessment, they get to understand what their values are as they pertain to their professional values and where these values are in a misalignment. They'll also find out what their ideal stage of growth is, what their ideal company culture is, and what their work style is. It'll show what their strengths and their competencies are and what their selling style is. And it'll also help them with their decision-making process. And this is all based on 6 different sciences, which combine into a nice, neat little 32-question, 20-minute assessment. These are our programs. We do one-on-one workshops. We do one-on-one with individuals. We do group workshops. And does anybody have any questions? Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Master Toastmaster.
Thank you, Tracy. Nick, are you ready? Just unmute yourself and let it rip.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. What a fantastic presentation from Tracy there. Did she wow you with her presentation skills? And did she wow you with her speaking skills? Well, tail of the tape. I got to tell you, loved her, didn't like the presentation. I'll tell you why. I loved Tracy. I loved the fact that she had clear voice. Tracy, you're amazingly clear. There was one or two words which I thought were slurred, but otherwise brilliant pitch and brilliant tone. What I would recommend is have the camera at eye level. You notice a difference now when I'm speaking. It's really comfortable for me to speak here, and also have my hands in view. Some of the times we were losing your hands. You had brilliant hand gestures. Use them really thoroughly. Another recommendation, do not put pricing on your PowerPoint. However, one last thing, one piece of advice, try it without the slideshow. You have brilliant storytelling technique and you are an amazing speaker. Trust yourself. Thank you.
Thank you for that rapid speed evaluation. Next up, we have a slightly different kind of speech. It is a little bit longer from Viviana. Viviana is working for her technical presentation about enhancing a technical talk with the internet. And the title of her speech is The Power of Google Slides. The Power of Google Slides. Viviana, all yours. Please unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Time starts right now.
Okay, so good morning and good evening, fellow online presenters and guests. So I'm Viviana. I'm here today because I want to share the presentation, The Power of Google Slides. I'm amazed that not only professionals use the slides presentation. As you can see here, the parish priest in my church also use the slides presentation in his 20 to 30 minutes sermon to make his speech more interesting, to engage with audience. So if you can see that the red nuance here is because it is the Mass during the Chinese New Year. So in the beginning, my slide presentation was dull. It was just the slide was white, the text was black. So I began to improve my presentation when I joined Toastmasters in project number 8, Competent Communication. I needed to present slides presentation or PowerPoint. Since then, I began to explore, for example, to create a video using slides presentation and also to convert my PowerPoint into ebook. When I joined online presenters, I saw all kinds of amazing slide presentation. So today before my speech, I sent a form, survey form to all members of online presenters. Oops. And I'm going to share the survey form. So these are your responses. For example, how often do you create slide presentations? Most of you did create slides presentation. Nobody said never created slide presentation. So some of them seldom created slides presentation, but Most of them, they are few times a week or once a week and even once a month. And then in the scale of 1 to 5 also, most of them is at least they did create slide presentation. And 1 is the difficult one, and number 5 is the easy one to create slides presentation. And here I ask what softwares or platform do you use to create slides presentation? I got all kinds of answer. That the most popular one is PowerPoint. And the other softwares are Google Slide, Microsoft PowerPoint Online, Prezi, Libre Impress. This is from open source, and also some created slides presentation on their phone as well. So what do you use the slide presentation? They use for mostly they use for presentation, and some use it for ebook or as a report. And there are also video presentation, and some say, okay, I'm considering to use the ebook for my slide presentation. And this is the problem that I try to ask what problems do you have when creating slides? They say finding the right theme, finding the right images, and how to make the slide presentation as professional. And the last is I want to get sick of doing it so I get used to it. So I will come back to my PowerPoint presentation. So here I'm going to present the Google Slide. So the Google Slide is, what is the Google Slide? Is to create, edit, collaborate with others on presentation on your computer. There is even Google Slides apps for on your smartphone. And you can use the Google Slide free if you have a Google account. So today you are going to learn 3 things. First is to address your problem, is to finding the right theme. And I will show you some features of Google Slide. And the last one is how to convert a slide presentation into ebook or PDF. So the first one is finding the right theme. So I'm going to show you there are various themes that you can use on Slide Carnival, and you can download or use it on Google Slide. Okay, now I'm going to share my screen to show you the Slides Carnival here. So as you can see here, this is the website of Slides Carnival. So there are many themes over here. So some one person said that I want to make my slide presentation look professional. You can use the slides template to look for under formal or business category. So here are the put it all kinds of templates under categories or under color. So I like a playful category. Let me show you. So for example, in playful category, there is a theme of Chinese New Year or even Christmas theme, and some it has a flowery theme. So I'm going to show you, for example, if I just want to explore more about formal. So I will scroll down my screen. And for example, I want to just want to know more about this template. So I click the title here. So I read the features. Normally, I prefer the templates that has 16:9 screen layout, because if you use the the PowerPoint want to record the video, you can get the right size for your video. So if you want to know more, this is not only this template. There are more templates in this theme. For example, I just click the arrow. You can see there are different slides, right, in this template. So you can download as a PowerPoint template and save to your computer, or you can use it as the Google Slide theme. So if I click here to use it as Google Slide theme, it will ask me a question. Would you like to make a copy? So I click make a copy. So voila, this template is saved to my Google Slide. So first I need to rename this file. For example, I call it presentation 1. And here there are all kinds of slides here. You don't need to follow them. You can rearrange the slide. For example, slide number 3. If I want it to appear on the first, I will just drag this slide and put it on the first, for example. So I will go back to my slide presentation that you just learned about the finding the right thing. Now I'm going to show you the features of Google Slide. So there is an add-ons or background. I will show you how to use the add-ons, the background, finding the right images and emoji. And if I have time, I will show you animation, and also how to share and collaborate and make a comment. So I will exit this slide. Okay, so right now, as you can see here, there is an add-ons. So get an add-ons. You can choose by category, for example, the business tools or education. So when you click here, you want to sign up with a third party, and you will receive email in your Gmail, and you need to confirm. Then this application can be integrated in your Google Slide. After you add some features, if you can manage them as well. If you don't like it, you can remove it through manage add-ons. Okay, so now let's see the background. Okay, the background here, you can see the background is white, right? So I want to change the background. Click here, change the background. You can use image as a background, for example. The easy way is I usually use image from search. For example, I want to use the forest, and I get it from Google. Let me see. So they will show all kinds of forests, and I just click one and select and click done. So my background changed to be a forest. If I want to return to my default, so I just click reset and done. You can also change the color. For example, this is white color. If you don't like white color, you can change to blue, for example. Right? Okay. Now I will show you how to find images and the emoji here. So if you want to add the images, you just click image. I'm using search from the web. So I will, for example, I like to search for images for business people.
Green.
Green. Okay. So for example here, right, I like to select images that has a transparent background. If you want to see the bigger picture, the larger image, you can just click here and then click insert. Oops. Normally the images will appear around here. And then you can try it again, how to add images using the search web. And then I will show you how to add the emoji here. So just go to insert and go to special characters. Now, okay. Now you can, this is the images that I just add. Now I will add the emoji. Now this is the emoji. I click the emoji instead of symbol, and then I will, for example, I give a heart. Then close it, and there is an emoji right here. And then the last one is to share and collaborate. So if you want to share this presentation with people, you can click the share. You can enter their name and address, the people that you want to share, or you just, the easy way is to copy the link. And this is, you can have a control whether you want people just view your PowerPoint without edit, or you allow them to edit. For example, I allow them to edit. And then if you work together on your PowerPoint, you can create your comment here.
15
For example, I put a comment. Okay, so the last one is to how to convert the Google slide into your ebook or PDF. Click file and then download as your PDF. So I hope that I have answered your questions or give you a solution to your biggest problem when creating PowerPoint. Back to you, Roger.
Thank you, Viviana. Now I'm not going to delay anymore. Jimmy Barber, please go ahead and unmute yourself and give your best. Squeeze everything you have for Viviana.
Viviana, this was terrific. You used Google Slides to illustrate the power of Google Slides. It sounds kind of obvious, but a lot of people might not have done that. You did it very well. Your presentation was professional, it was informative, it was well organized, it was well presented. Congratulations. I don't have much time, so let me hit on a couple of things, three things actually, that I think could improve it a little bit. The first is you opened with, I am here because I want to share the power of Google Slides. You actually put that on your first slide. Don't tell us what you want to do. Tell us why we should be here. Something to the effect of, many people don't know the power of Google Slides and it's holding them back in their careers, or something like that. The second thing, let's see if I can make sense of my notes here. Oh, your slides, some of your slides, especially the survey slides, were a little on the small side. They were hard to read. Just make them bigger. It would probably be fine for an auditorium, but online they were kind of hard to see. And the third thing is that, this goes back to what Nick said to Tracy. I would like to see less slides and more of Viviana. How you'd work that out, I'm not quite sure, but I would like to see that. I'd like to see more of you. That's it.
Thank you, Jimmy. This is one of those times that we have gentlemen saying, we want to see more of you, Viviana. We want to see more of you, Tracy, and get away with it.
Yeah, don't take that the wrong way. As I was saying it, I was thinking, probably could say that better, but.
Perfectly fine. Well received. I believe we understand. Let's keep going. And hey, look, right now we got 3 speeches already. And I think you notice very different in style, in content. And thanks to our evaluator, some stuff that I've just picked up myself. I've been jotting down notes for my own speeches in the next few times. So we're gonna dive right into our next speaker, which is Peggy. I will be his evaluator for her. She's working on the Speaking to Inform, the first speech of speaking, the speech to inform. And the purpose of her, the purpose of what she's trying to do is to inform us on some kind of issue. And it is quite interesting that we just talked about and heard from Viviana about Google Slide. The title of Peggy's speech is To Google or Not to Google. To Google or Not to Google. Peggy, all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. This evening, I'd like to share with you both the power of Google and the slightness of Google in certain cases. Google was founded in 1996. And without venturing to guess anybody's age, I would say that the average person in the audience probably didn't use Google in grade school, high school, or middle school. Google can help us and it can cripple us. As Viviana showed us, Google is great. It's great for presentations. It's great for research. However, there are limitations. Google doesn't know our thoughts. It can't show us every bit of information about everything that we want to know about the topic that we're looking at. While Google has come a long way, it still has its shortcomings. For example, if I were to put in to the Google Toastmasters, I'm only going to get maybe on an average 10 on the first page. Beyond that, there could be a lot of interesting articles, various types of topics, journal articles. However, we could miss a lot of those by only going to that first page. The average computer is only going to show us 300 words on one page. While Google has its positives, the negatives that we might want to look at this evening are for both grade school, middle school, and high school. I think in our fast-paced world, we can all say, if I want to find something out, I'm going to Google it, and whatever the first 2 searches are is all I'm going to look at. There are a lot of great websites out there for research. I remember when I was in school, we would go to the library. We would even look through card catalogs. Nowadays, with everything at our fingertips, it's very easy to lose sight of some of the more powerful search tools. If you go to any library or any university, there are search engines such as EBSCO, which stands for Elton B. Stevenson Company, and that is a group of multidisciplinary databases, and they provide thousands of articles on various topics. LexisNexis is another one that's, I think, well known among law firms and legal communities. JSTOR has journal storage and a lot of journal articles. Project Muse is another one that has several articles and all sorts of things on various topics. I would encourage any grade school or high school student, or even middle school and college, to not so much depend on the Google search to give you exactly what you want, but rather to go to any library. I'm sure the librarians would be more than willing to help with any research within these databases. Because again, with Google, although you have literally millions and millions of research at your fingertips, no matter what, as you scroll down to the articles, I think your time and your interest level, I guess you'd say, wanes off as you go through all the articles. You're looking for that quick answer. I think in today's society, that's exactly what we want. We want our Google Map. We want our Google Drive. I found out about this Toastmasters club through Google. However, I think that today's students, maybe not immediate graduates right now, but as we go through grade school, junior high, and high school, I think they should be not limited to just Google for their searches. Rather, they should be encouraged to go to the library, any type of bookstore even, to do some research, and not just stick with the million searches that are going to be returned or millions of articles that are going to be returned on Google. I truly believe that Google is great, especially for our club. We've collaborated and put dozens of documents and articles online for us to see just at our fingertips. However, Google could cause students in today's society to limit themselves to, say, the first 3 searches, the first 4 searches. They're not going to go any further than that because they're in a hurry to go to the next party or whatever they're going to go to. So I would encourage everybody to use Google Limited and to go to these other websites or search engines such as EBSCO, LexisNexis, JSTOR, and Project Muse. Thank you.
Jimmy, you can start my time right now. Thank you very much, Peggy. 3 things that really stood out from my perspective. Number 1, you truly believe what you just said because your confidence was expressed right from the get-go in the beginning, throughout in the body and the close. So you came across as genuine in terms of this is what I believe and this is what I want to share with you. Number 2, you were very focused, similar to what Jim Valber have said and others have said of the other presentation where Viviana used Google Slide to talk about Google Slide. You recommended that we should not use as much Google, therefore you don't show GoGo. So that was very consistent. Excellent job. Number 3 is that you really focus our attention to what you want to tell us about children, how they're going to use research. My 2 recommendations, I would push that focus even further by narrow it all the way down to maybe elementary school students. So that you can say, you know what, go all the way down there because you don't want to set up this precedent so that when they grow older, they won't get in there in their middle school and high school. And last comment is your eye contact. It looks like you're reading from a lot of the notes on your side. This is what you come across. Learn how to take a peek and look back into your camera and so on and so forth. So those are the 2 suggestions I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. So now let's do a little baton passing over from Jimmy Dent, the timer, to Tracy. Tracy, you're going to start timing our next 2 speakers, both 5, 6, and 7. You can go ahead and verbally just unmute yourself and just say green, yellow, red at the maximum time of 7.5. Verbally cut them off and say they're done. For evaluation, 1 minute, you can just put up a red or just say red. At 1:15, cut them off.
Did you say 7 on the speakers? Did you say 7 or 7.5?
At 7.5, at 7 you say red, but at 7.5, a verbal drop dead cutoff.
Okay.
For evaluator, you just say red is fine at 1 minute, 1:15. All right. We are jumping over to Jacinta. Jacinta is working on her level 2 learning your style mentoring. So how is she going to do it? Is she going to be the same as Magda or something different? We'll find out. The title of her speech is mentoring can change your life. Jacinta, all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, if we have any, is there an aspect of your life that you desperately want to improve? Today, we're going to discuss mentoring. What is a mentor? What do they do? I would also like to share a time when I was a protege and tell you what my experiences were like, and also specifically list some of my mentors and show you how they changed my future. A mentor has been described as an experienced and trusted advisor. Oftentimes, when someone, a protege, is looking for a mentor, they're looking for aspects, characteristics, skill sets that they are missing, and they want to obtain those to provide more value to their lives. Mentors, according to Toastmasters International, are responsible for the ongoing guiding of a protege during their process. The actual protege themselves is responsible for the outcome, but the mentor is there to help guide them along the way. There was a period in my time for it when I was a protege. As a dental school student, I struggled with being an overly ambitious student. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of the cool kids, how they sometimes don't make it through school. I was on track to be one of those cool kids that was not going to make it through school because there's so many things I wanted to do. I wanted to graduate from school successfully, but I always had a burning desire to do extracurricular activities. My mentors in school helped me to understand and appreciate the importance of quiet time and to really think through your thoughts and your goals to make sure you're able to accomplish them. One of my mentors, which was my dental school dean, Dr. Leo Rouse, informed me that he was involved in managing students, managing different organizations, and he was just busy all the time. I was very perplexed in terms of time management. And I asked him one day, how are you able to manage all of these things at one time? He informed me that the key to success was to get up early. He also advised me on how to be a good leader and continue to guide me and encourage me to always continue to be ambitious, but to make sure I plan ahead. One of my academic deans, Dr. Skinner, helped me to understand that school is tough, but you should enjoy your experience because this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. When things did not go as well as I'd like for them to, she helped me to be optimistic and guide me to continue to move forward. There was one point in time in school when I was way too busy. Dr. Harden informed me that I need to stop politicking too much. I need to just stop it. That advice was very timely during that particular period in my life. Dr. Stewart, Dr. Hart, Dr. Fryer, Winfrey, Reed, Matthews, they all helped me, and Bailey as well, to strive for clinical excellence, and they guided me to continue to move forward. Dr. Grant Mills and Dr. Manning Cox, they also helped me to understand that the community is important. They continue to guide me to participate in community activities to help me and help the community because they need an advocate for their oral health as well. I've listed a lot of the mentors, and there's many, many more that I just don't have time to share. So let me tell you how the mentor really impacted my life. When I was in dental school, I was president of my class of over 80 students. I participated in 2 highly competitive externships. One was with the American Dental Association regarding health policy. The second one was with the Indian Health Services in Barrow, Alaska. I was very involved in community service events. I, at the time, was involved in grassroots campaign for the candidate at the time was Barack Obama. I joined Toastmasters, and I was able to successfully graduate from dental school. I would not have had the same experience if I did not have amazing mentors to help guide me along the process and to help me to grow. I started off with, is there an aspect of your life that you are desperately wanting to improve? A mentor can help you do that. We've discussed about what mentors do, how they can help you, and you've learned more about myself in terms of my protege experience and how I was able to focus and succeed very well as a dental school student. Remember, a mentor can change your life. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Jacinta. Before we turn our time over to the evaluator, we have one more evaluation and then one last speaker in evaluation. But we have just hit the top of the hour. If you do need to go, you can quietly leave the room. If not, you can stay. And now, let's turn our attention to Nick. We'll be evaluating Jacinta's speech. Nick, all yours.
Jacinta, what an excellent list of things that you've achieved, and I bet you were only, what, 21 by then? That's amazing. And what you have actually achieved is, in terms of the speech tonight, what you were looking for was to see about the impact of mentoring. Yes, we can see that there's been a lot of impact in your mentoring. However, what we saw also was too many things mentioned and not enough in the depth of, one important one. So please have a look at the lists that you've done, focus on one, and really get down and deep with that relationship as a protege with your mentor. You had some excellent things. You had some excellent clarity in your voice, and you also had some hand gestures. However, I would have loved to see more animation, more hand gestures, and also more characterization in terms of you, your mentor, and so on. In terms of recommendations, I don't know what happened in the first bit. It looked as though you had some sort of really crazy teleprompter and you actually were reading slowly. And then you actually were more relaxed in the second part on there. Okay, are we done?
Yeah.
No. Okay.
One last comment. Go ahead. One last comment, Nick.
Oh, just be more natural from beginning to end. You have an amazing story. You have an amazing voice. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Excellent. Excellent. Well, we are coming up toward our last speaker, Jimmy Dan. Jimmy is working off of effective coaching. He is at level 5, demonstrating his expertise on lessons learned. And Jimmy, is this your very last speech in this path?
The last speech will be reflecting on my path.
Okay, so he's on the next to last speech. The title of his speech is Creating Pathways Tutorials. And this speech is about a learning that he have done through an HPL team, creating pathway tutorials. Jimmy Dent.
Thank you. Who here has never done an HPL project, high performance leadership? You've never done one? Well, I'm going to talk about some of the lessons I learned. In level 5, I did an HPL project for level 5. And I wanted to do something about pathways because that's the new program. And on Facebook, I've read many cases where people were having trouble with it. And I was doing a lot of verbal helping with people, walking them through screenshots. So I thought of a project. So the first thing I had to do, which I'm going to tell you about, is picking the guidance committee, picking an action team, and then getting 360 feedback. My first part was picking the guidance committee. Now that was a challenge because I knew what I wanted to do. But when you sit down with the guidance committee, they also have their ideas of what they think you should do. From conducting a webinar at the district, at a TLI, to possibly coaching one club on pathways. And I use some mentoring and coaching skills to then use questions to the guidance committee to steer them, but where they had to answer the questions, such as, well, what kind of project can I do that I could reach as many members as I can, regardless of the district? So I would keep asking questions so I could steer them in the direction I kind of had my idea. And in the end, they agreed that creating a series of PowerPoint tutorials would probably satisfy. And the secret to asking the questions was I didn't tell them what I wanted. They think they came up with the idea. So then they'd buy into it more. That's one of the lessons I want to convey, is make sure you steer them by asking questions, which is a mentor and a coaching skill, rather than just telling them. Now, number 2 is picking the action team. I wanted to pick a very diverse action team. So I used to belong to, well, 6 different districts. So I went back to some of the people I knew in other districts. So I got diversity among different districts. I also picked people that have not had trouble with pathways, and also some that were having trouble with pathways. Now again, getting the committee convinced of what the project is and the scope, and developing a vision, which was to develop a set of tutorials that could be given as 5 to 7 minute speeches each. So I didn't want one long keynote presentation that would take up an entire TLI session, but I wanted ones that could be given in segments in 5 to 7 minutes. So that was the task at hand for them to develop. And what I did was each member developed their own module. So we actually developed 7 modules because I had 7 action team members. And we decided among ourselves who was going to tackle each project. Now, of course, in the beginning, they weren't too much alike. So that was part of the project, was I didn't give them enough definition in the beginning. And I came back with 7 PowerPoints that looked significantly different in style, content, and the way they are arranged. So we did get back together and we got them very commonized with each other. So it looks like one person created them all. And that's something I could have done earlier in the program, is laid out the template and storyline and how I wanted to do it. But I wanted to give the members a lot of freedom. So that's another lessons learned. Make sure you really clearly scope out what you expect from them as far as style, format, structure. The last thing was 360 feedback, which is in the new HPL project. Now, I started off with some feedback, but I realized later on I should have had a lot more feedback in the very beginning. And the 360 feedback was really sitting down and reflecting on what I'm doing each night.
Green.
How I'm doing, but also getting feedback from the guidance committee and the action team more frequently. I realized at first I wasn't getting feedback often enough. And when I did get feedback, I was thinking, gee, I wish they had told me this 2 weeks ago. So I think it's more important, as a lessons learned, to get feedback much more often in the beginning of a project than towards the end. So that's the 3 things I learned. Was one is picking the guidance committee. Make sure you pick them and they really understand what you want to do, but don't tell them exactly the project you want to do. Ask enough questions that they lead into what you want to do and they think they came up with the idea. The other thing is picking the action team. Get a diverse team with different experience. But then make sure you give them enough clear definition and scope of what you want so that you don't have to do a lot of changes and rework later on. And last, get 360 feedback frequently at the beginning, and you can taper off towards the end. And what I want to show you is what, let's see. Well, I can't find the share thing up here. Oh, here we go. This is a sample of, well, I thought I have it. Here we go, yeah. Just gonna show one slide. This is a sample of the slides. What we did was step-by-step screenshot slides telling people what to do something. This was the one this was just one on just how to view your certificate, print it out, save it as a PDF file, and then print it out if you want to put it in a folder.
Red.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you very much. The best thing, the number one thing that stood out for me was that you started and say, here are the three steps that I did for my HPL. I thought you were going off the deep end by explaining what the HPL is, but you didn't. You used those steps as a way to give us examples of the things that you have learned. That is the number one thing that stood out throughout your speech. Good job. Number two, you had a great voice. You didn't need any slides. This could have been a podcast where we have nothing in terms of visual and still understand the major things that you have done. You really narrowed it down. You didn't give us 15 things, 3 things, boom, boom, boom. So therefore, when you did that slide at the end, I thought actually it reversed for me, where you had maybe taken an extra 5 seconds to 6 seconds to say, oh, do I have the slide? Do I not have the slide? If you believe that is important to do it, make sure you have those practice so you know already, boom, 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 you have it right there. So to me, you could have cut it off right there. It would be perfect. So I think that for me ruined it just a little tad. And at the end, when you gave the summary, I think you can tighten the summary even more so that it's when you say 3 things that you can learn from it, that I can really get the clear 1, 2, and 3. But you went back into the detail of 1, 2, and 3.
Thank you.
So I think you can do that. So with that, excellent job, Jimmy. We look forward to your last speech somewhere and finish the whole path. So thank you very much. I know it's already 8:12. I don't want to go any further, but I do want to give you have to go. But I want to give Jason a quick opportunity as our guest to give us some reaction. You've been in Toastmasters for 6 years. You've been checking out online clubs. You just saw a Speakeathon. What did you think?
Yeah, it's my first experience in an online club, and it's interesting. There's certain challenges that right away come to mind. There's obviously no audience feedback. You're kind of you're supposed to be staring at the camera. You mentioned the space. That's also interesting. Is this confined space that I can't get through? So that's another challenge that again is a new skill set you need to learn. I thought everyone did a great job. Magda, Jacinta, everyone, Tracy, Viviana, great speeches. Jimmy, Peggy, great speech. I really enjoyed your speech as well. Nick, everyone did a really good job. Roger, I loved your feedback as well. Again, I think with the online constraints, it's interesting. There's a few things, seeing how people were navigating some of those challenges. Like, wow, I never thought to look at the camera. I never thought of the constraints. I never thought if my eyes are reading or not. All those little things just kind of popped out and realized, like, wow, this is something I need to just practice myself, I guess. So thank you for allowing me to sit in. It was a pleasure hearing all of you, and I look forward to the next official meeting.
All right, well, come and join us on Monday night in our regular time, and then you can see what a regular meeting is like. I would open up for 1 minute. Anyone who have any dying thoughts as you're listening to all these speeches, maybe there's just one thing that I say, yeah, I need to share this, good or bad. I'll open up right now. Go ahead, raise your hand.
Yeah, I've got something.
Go.
Yeah, so this is my first time when I actually evaluated in 60 seconds. So I felt as though I was trying to do an introduction, And then I just went in for the kill, and I said, I didn't like it to both my speakers. Oh my God, I did like them both, I promise. But I wanted to give good recommendations as well,
Yeah,
and
it
I
was
will do in my written feedback. Thank you.
Yes.
You should have heard my first speech evaluation. It was horrible.
Well, I took, first of all, I took some liberty because I know the people who are giving the speeches. I have talked with each one of them previously. I have the knowledge, therefore, and I also know the evaluators. Therefore, I did take some liberty to say, let's go with the throw and really get to it, because this is also an advanced club. This is not the first timer. We've got some age in here. Well, I'm sorry. We've got some experience here. Therefore, we can handle a little bit of the in-your-face intact. But Nick, I thought you did very well in terms of going right after what you thought would make their speeches better. Now, they may agree. They may disagree. That's their job to listen for those. Anyone else, raise your hand if you have something dying that you want to share.
I want to share something.
Yes.
Well, first of all, we have thick skin, right? Because we're advanced. The other thing is that, you know, it did, like one of the things that Nick mentioned was not to share pricing. The whole context of my presentation is, this is what I literally present to my prospects. So it wasn't, you know, and it felt awkward, including the pricing for our group. However, I wanted to do exactly what I delivered to my prospects so that if there is any feedback, I can tailor it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, Tracy. I understood that. What I'm saying is, from a business point of view, I would actually recommend that my clients don't share the pricing on the slide, but to have it separated out into some sort of proposal that they can take away, so that it's just, I don't know, it's a different mindset, I guess, or, you know, from my point of view.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
I will. Nick, I'll
anyway, that's a business rather
Right.
than
I will piggyback on what Nick is saying. Obviously, this is stylistic issue, so you have to decide what style you want to go to. But there are two reasons I would agree with Nick. Number one, by having those prices, no matter how expensive or how cheap, you're potentially giving them a way to reject you. So if they're thinking, hey, I want this thing, I want the Rolls-Royce version, it's going to be $30,000, and you pop the price $299. You know, okay, this is imitation stuff in Chinatown. Now get out of here. Okay, that's one possibility. Or the reverse. I may be thinking about $299, and you put up $399. So that's one issue. Number two, you may have a standard price for everybody, but I don't know that. So when you don't put the price on there and I contact you, I talk and you say, you know what, based on what you need, it's going to be $399. It may be $399 for everybody, but now you just tailor and gave me a custom price. So that would be
right.
Why I would agree. I'm not going to go further. Anyone else who have quick response, whether it be anything that we just talked about for Tracy or anybody else?
It creates value. It's like you want to create that value first, and then they will figure out a way to make it work financially.
Yeah. So I want to piggyback on that, and this is also in line with what Viviana did. Even though Viviana has a longer speech, this is something that we all can do, all will fall into this era. We will fill that time with data. We need to narrow it down, even for a 15-minute speech. Tracy, since Viviana's not here, Tracy, for your example, I know this is going to be a prospecting speech. What I would do, now this is my style, not that you have to do it my way. My style would be, what would be one thing, one freebie stuff on their resume that I can give them in that 5 minutes that they will benefit. They will take home and say, oh, that's one thing I can do, and just quickly do some research, change my resume, and I look, wow, it is 10 times better than what I had. So now they got that and say, oh, where is Tracy's email? Where is her phone call? Because I want the rest of the package. So I won't tell her, I won't tell my prospect the 15 things I'm going to do. I might say, yeah, these are 15 things I can do for you, but due to the time, let me give you one. And this is a slam dunk. This is a home run out, hit the ballpark. One thing you must do in your LinkedIn profile, or one thing you must do in your resume. 5 minutes, give them that impact. I get the buy-in. If I think, she's not, guess what? You're not going to sell me anyway. If you can't sell me that 5 minutes, but if you can get me at that 5 minutes, I'm going to email you, or at the end as your call to action. You say, hey, I don't have enough time. I have 4 more tips that you can apply on your own without me. I don't want you to hire me. I got too many customers anyway. So email me and I'll give you the other 4 tips. Why? You just got that email. Now you can do follow-up. All right, so that's what I would do in terms of a sales presentation. And even though it's applied to you, I would say the same thing if Vienna was still be here, is to tighten it up. I would have taken her speech and say, Google Slides. People have complained about the time that they wasted to do this, this, and this. But tonight, I'm gonna give you 1 tip, images. How you'll do images very quickly, and boom. And I focus everything. I don't talk about emojis. I don't talk about, copy and paste. Just one place, click, click, click. You got yourself some image. Now that you buy in, have some buy-in, you got the benefit. Oh, there's 3 more things I can share with you about Google Slides. Click this, email me, and I'll give you the full presentation. We'll get on the phone or whatever. Think dating. Don't ask them to marry you on date 1, but you always leave something. And my last example is that this is a little bit of a Chinese thing. When I was dating somebody, I wouldn't call who it is, I pay for it, right? I pay for the dinner. So she said, oh, this is wonderful. Let's go to dinner again. This time, my treat. Well, the next time she came in, we had the dinner. Guess what? That dinner was paid before she got a chance to grab the bill. Why? Now she feel indebted. I paid her twice. Now she wants that 3rd time and the 4th time. But each time so in a sense, I'm baiting her in. First base, second base, whatever. You don't ask her to marry you on date 1. Get that in there. Oh, by the way, I am married, and that was that girl downstairs. All right, so with that said, any last comment before we close it all out?
So sorry, about the we had a couple of people use slides tonight, Tracy and Viviana. In terms of traces, the reason why, in terms of doing a pitch, right? Why should I buy from you? If I wanted to see a spread, if I just, from a very basic point of view, if I wanted to see a PowerPoint, I can download 10 million from the internet. If you're in front of me, if you're in front of you with your client, you've got the skills to actually engage them, look into their eyes, actually ask questions, and then just draw them in, as Roger said. Why would you not use that opportunity? And then, if necessary, send them the slideshow later, or do a presentation later. But you've got that FaceTime with them. Just use that to actually to your full advantage, and use your skills as a speaker, and not just a simple presenter. Because some of the time you were reading off the slideshow. Well, they can read. They were like, yeah, okay, well, but use that time to ask more questions, to qualify the lead more, and find out ways that you can actually go and see them again, or upsell the opportunity into a bigger solution sell. Because I'm all about value and solution sell. I don't want to sell you something off the shelf. I want to sell you something and make it 20 times bigger and then charge you more for it. That's what I want to do as a consultant or as a coach or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
If you have to go. Jim Barber, did you say? Oh, he said he wants to go. Okay. It's the thing is, most of the time in sales, we're trying prospecting. We're thinking about attracting people. That is one part of it. At the same time, you're rejecting people. That's why we're calling qualifying. We're rejecting people we don't want, right? Whatever it is. Now, each one of us have different profiles. There's certain people we don't want. So therefore, maybe I don't want freebie people. Then I won't give away a lot of freebies. Fine. So when you're qualifying, you're always looking at, how do I track them? And are they going to fit into my profile? In Nick's case, he wants that face-to-face. He wants that talk, right? So if somebody says, I just want to be online, I don't want to talk with him, that's most likely not going to be very consistent with what Nick could provide. So he's also doing the filtering by pushing away people he does not want and attracting the people he wants. All right, I know we went kind of off the grid in terms of a sales, but it comes back to presentation. All right.
Are we charging for this, Roger?
That's right. There will be a charge. You you can pay in pounds or American dollars.
I've just changed to Bitcoin.
Oh, that's right. We can do Bitcoin too. All three, we'll take all three. All right. So thank you very much.
Thank
Good night,
you.
everybody. Take care.
Thanks, guys.